To the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Pacific Region Bird Biologist Talk today. We're out here at the Fernhill Wetlands with lots of birds and two bird biologists who are going to talk to us about the migratory bird centennial and the year of birds, as well as what to do when you're out birding, tips, and some of the wildlife that we're seeing here today. Take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm Roberta Swift. I work for the Office of Migratory Birds in Region 1 in Portland, Oregon, and this is my colleague.
David Leal. I work with the Ecological Services Office in Portland, Oregon.
We're both wildlife biologists, and we're here today to kick off our centennial celebration for 2016. We're celebrating 100 years of bird conservation for migratory birds. And our first walk, we're going to have two walks twice a week throughout the year. And our first walk is here at Fernhill Wetlands because it's a great place to see waterfowl and other birds during the winter. First of all, one thing you need to think about when you're going outside, especially on a rainy day like this, is to be prepared. This was not one of my 10 bird tips, but it should have been. First thing, when it's raining, you want to wear rain gear because you might be out here for a little while watching birds and you don't want to get completely soaked and cold. So what are you wearing today, David?
Well, besides my rain jacket and my rubber boots,
pretty good.
Another important thing is rain guards on your binoculars and your scope.
Which I don't have. And the rain boots were especially important today because we just waded through about 100 yards of shin-high water to get here. But it's worth it. So let me just go through my top 10 birding tips. First one, get out early. Second one, go out late. Number 3, get the right light. Number 4, get quiet. Number 5, go slow. Number 6, just relax. Number 7, bring your binos and your scope. Number 8, bring your ears. Number 9, just have fun. And number 10, get out together. So you can look at all these bird tips on the Tumblr post that our External Affairs posted today. If you want to learn more about those, or I can go into them a little bit later, but maybe we should talk about the birds themselves now. Like, what are we hearing today, David, and seeing?
Well, right now is a great time for seeing winter waterfowl. Most of them are already in their breeding plumage and starting to even think about courting. But well, there's a mallard, nice female mallard calling. But we have pintails, mallard, American widgeon. We saw one Eurasian widgeon. I saw a shoveler, green-winged teal. So we got a nice mix of puddle ducks in here in this marshy area. And then in the background we have Canada geese, cackling geese, and some of the other subspecies of both of those, like dusky Canada goose, probably lesser Canada goose mixed in.
David, how can you tell what ducks or geese are out there? Are you using your spotting scope or are you listening to the sounds?
Well, first, I usually scan with my binoculars and listen, because some of them are obviously very distinct in their call. But, the nice thing about ducks right now is they're in breeding plumage, most of them. Diver ducks are a little bit behind and still coming into breeding plumage, but most of the puddle ducks are already there. And so identification is actually pretty easy on most ducks.
And someone asked how you got so good at identifying them.
I started as an SCA student at Fish and Wildlife Service 30 years ago.
Time.
Yeah, time and getting out and looking at them.
So Roberta, one of the things you mentioned on your birding tips was being quiet. Why is that so important when you're going birding?
Well, if you're walking along the trail and you're chatting a lot, which sometimes you like to do when you're walking with your friends, the birds will hear you before you get there. So they'll actually scatter, and so as you walk, they'll be moving away from you. So you see a lot more birds if you're quiet. And this doesn't just count for talking. Actually, if you have noisy clothing or you're scuffling your feet on the gravel, they'll hear that too. So just being quiet helps you see a lot more birds.
Someone just asked if there's anything out here besides ducks.
I see a great blue heron or two.
We had a bald eagle pass over just a minute ago, and a red-tail landed on the post, one of the trees over here.
Oh.
And there's some geese, so they're not technically ducks. So
there are a lot of sparrows that winter here and other songbirds. The hard part is with the weather being so lousy today, it's keeping a lot of them in the bushes.
Do you guys see a favorite bird out there?
I love the pintail. Northern pintail, you can hear them calling right now. They're making the little... They're a really elegant duck, and a lot of duck hunters' favorite too.
I don't do favorites. I love them all.
I'm just going to scan around a little bit to show the audience what all's out there and how many birds we're seeing. How do you start birding? I've never been and wouldn't know where to start. Someone from the audience just asked us.
Really, you just go outside. I mean, birds are everywhere, so you can walk in your neighborhood and just listen for them, or if you happen to have binoculars, just you see something moving in the trees, take a look at it. So you just have to, you don't have to necessarily identify them when you're just starting out, just appreciate them. So most of them are beautiful and really interesting, so
And if you did want to identify them, are there things you can use to...
You can start with a book. These days there's a lot of apps too. I have the Sibley app, there's also the Audubon app, so some of those are really helpful because you can go home and play a bird call later that you heard while you were out birding, and that'll help you identify the bird by the call.
Yeah. Places like Backyard Bird Shop, some of those other types of birding stores also have a lot of resources for you. And local Audubons will have field trips. You can get out with people and they'll help you learn birds too.
Yeah, that's true. Getting out with friends is a good way to do it. A lot of times friends can get you started if you know anybody else that birds.
Great. We got a question can either of you all make bird calls yourself?
You just did.
Could we hear that again, David?
Well, the pintail I did was a... we also have widgeon out here, and sometimes you'll hear them. They were kind of much easier with a duck call.
Like a mallard, it's just like...
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So even in the rain, these birds are making noises.
Oh, they're talking a lot. You know, this is a refuge area where there is no hunting, so they're not afraid of people, and they're not being harassed at the moment, so they're comfortable. They're talking.
And now, what's that big thing in the tree back there? I'm trying to zoom in on it.
Maybe give people a second to guess, maybe?
Yeah, can anyone tell what's in the tree out there? Looks like some sort of nest. We don't have anyone answering, so maybe we should.
I think it's a bald eagle nest.
Ah.
And they're not...
And there is a bald eagle roosting just to the left of it.
Yes, people are saying eagles. Oh, but I can't zoom in far enough to see it on the camera. Shoot.
You probably could do it. You might be able to do it in the scope.
Oh. Yeah.
Next time.
Next time. Someone was saying, why do they make the noises? Why do they make those sounds when they're comfortable, the birds?
They make them when they're comfortable, when they're uncomfortable. They're just communicating with each other. So they might be saying, you know, just letting other birds know where they are, or kind of
warning birds of a predator coming, warning the other ducks.
They're just staying in touch with each other.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking us out here and showing us the beautiful Fernhill wetlands and the wildlife that's out here. We hope that you online will tune in for our 100 Birdwalks campaign. Look for the hashtag 100 Birdwalks, and we'll take you on lots of others throughout the year.